in the extra session. Kirill Kaprizov, 14 career overtime winners, as I mentioned earlier, 4 of them this year. They'll try it up ice passes. Brody darting in. Brody cross ice. Spurgeon a shot. He scores! Jared Spurgeon wins it in overtime! 9th overtime win of the year for the Wild. 5 straight in the win column as they hit the Olympic break as the captain beats Soros. It's 6-5. The victory tonight for Minnesota.
Honestly, that feels like it was a decade ago. That was at the beginning of the month, the end of the first portion of the regular season for the Wild. They break for the Olympic break, and now we're getting ready to ramp things back up again. Joe O'Donnell on the call is... to me, Joe, that feels like it was a long, long ways ago. That's the voice of the Minnesota Wild, Joe O'Donnell, right here on the Fan and the Minnesota Wild Radio Network. And it wasn't that long ago, but it feels like it was a lifetime ago.
It does. Thanks for having me on, phone. It's always good to chat with you, buddy. The Olympics have been fun. It's been awesome. Really excited for Team USA later today, and hopefully a gold medal game, no matter who's in it on Sunday. But with the Wild re-hitting the ice this week, it's starting to feel a little bit more real. Like the NHL will be back here before you know. I think the Wild travel to Denver Wednesday. Play the Avs Thursday, so less than a week away, and I think the league actually picks back up on Wednesday night. So got a gold medal game Sunday, and then 72 hours later we'll have NHL hockey again.
Yeah, it will be here before we know it, but there's still a lot of hockey to get through as far as the Olympics go. How did you take in the quarterfinal game? What are you doing this afternoon for the semifinal game against the Slovaks?
Kevin, I just got out here to beautiful Albertville, the outlets.
Okay. Living large.
Familiar?
Yeah, of course.
First trip out here. I don't know where I'm going to end up in all these outlet stores, but after that, hoping to get back just in time for puck drop for the USA. Been keeping an eye on the Canada-Finland game, listening to you guys on the drive out here. But I was able to catch the end of yesterday's USA women's gold medal game.
So fun.
At the very famous and outstanding Tom Reed's Hockey City Pub. Caught that with a couple of colleagues, so that was awesome.
That was such a fun game to watch and take in. I can't imagine what it would be like to be on that bench or to be a part of that team. Even we had Brad Frost earlier today, and he's got direct ties to about a third of that roster. When it's 1-0 late in regulation, you can feel the backsides clenching a little bit, but luckily they got the game tying goal by Knight, and then the game winner. Just a thing of beauty all the way around. Just a magical moment for American hockey, not just women's hockey, but I think it's even bigger than that.
Yeah, it was awesome. And what was crazy to me is 5-6 minutes left. U.S. takes a penalty. They got to kill it off. Canada's already got the lead. And Canada was kind of the team that was pushing things a little bit. They were, it's not like the U.S. was buzzing with 3-4 minutes left and all these scoring chances where you kind of felt like, all right, they're going to tie this thing. It was Canada that had the chances and was trying to put sort of the nail in the coffin. So, crazy how quickly it can change. You get the goalie out, get a point shot. And then the overtime winner, that was something special. So congrats to the women. That was amazing. They needed that. Felt they were a better team. When you watch the preliminary game, I know Poulan didn't play for Canada in that one, but it felt like varsity versus JV, if I'm being honest, in the prelims. So obviously yesterday was much different, much closer, but good to see the Americans pull it out. Felt well-deserved. And so cool for Taylor Heisey and so many of the other local ties here with Abby Murphy with the Gophers. It's awesome. And congrats to them. It was well-deserved.
Yeah, it'd be great to see an American sweep of the board. It's going to be easier said than done.
Yeah.
The women did their part. The men coming up later on today. Quick update from Milan. They're through 2 periods. The Finns jumped out to a 2-0 lead over the Canadians, but Sam Reinhart on the power play cut the lead in half. That's where we sit through 40 minutes. Finland's still holding on to a 2-1 lead, but we were talking about this with Brett and Halvey before we got you on. This would be a pretty monumental upset. And I know Finland's good. And they got goals, and they got great players like Rantanen. Halla scored in this one. They've got some great players, great storylines there for the Finns. But if Canada were to go down in this hockey game and not medal, that would be pretty monumental. Would you agree?
Yeah, yes. I mean, and I was thinking about it yesterday a little bit, just in regards to the women's side. It's kind of crazy when your standard is gold or bust.
Yeah, right.
It's the Olympics. And in case of other sports, these athletes train, year-round for years to just get there and represent their country. And when you're that much of a heavy favorite or expected that, anything less than the gold medal is disappointing, whether it's an individual sport or a team sport, like it's hard to wrap your head around. You think, you're an Olympian, you should be proud no matter how you finish. You finished 8th in the world. The Olympic Games is pretty incredible. You finished 3rd, you get the bronze, it's incredible. But in the case of these two hockey teams, specifically Canada, to not come up with the gold medal is just severely disappointing. And we'll see what, obviously they rallied against Czechia the other day, so I don't think this one's anywhere near from over. But it's wild when you think about the magnitude of gold or bust for so many of these either individual athletes or these teams, specifically with the Canadian men's Olympic team, where anything less than gold is a severe disappointment.
I definitely want to talk to you about the Wild and ramping up the regular season once again, but since we're talking Olympic hockey, there's a big one coming up this afternoon, and I can't wait to put my face right in front of the TV and take in every single second of it. But if you told me coming into the Olympics that the best Wild goaltender in the Olympics would not be Philip Gustafsson, not Jesper Wallstedt, but Samuel Halavai, really? He's been unbelievable, and that's what that's what the Americans are up against today, going up against Slovakia, and the Wild prospect who's been really statistically dismal for the Iowa Wild, but has been lighting it up for the Slovaks.
Yeah, it's almost goaltending, sort of when you look at the goaltending position, it's like a microcosm, right? Like so many good goaltenders across the world at various levels, and in a short setting and a weekend, a couple of games, like it's amazing how when you're playing with confidence, what that can do for you. And if you look at Samuel Halavai's track record internationally, like his world championship numbers the last few years, spectacular. The Olympic qualifier, spectacular. It's part of the reason why the Wild signed him a few years back, is they saw how well he played in some undermanned on paper situations with his country, and was making, routinely a save percentage of .925 or higher, stopping 38 of 40, 35 of 37 in these big settings, and keeping the Slovakians in some games. And then at the pro level, a decent year last year in Iowa, a little bit of time in the ECHL, but this year with the Iowa Wild, it just hasn't gone well. For whatever reason, right? You can point to a number of factors, I'm sure. And Cal Peterson hasn't had great numbers either with the Iowa Wild this year, for whatever that's worth. So it is an interesting sort of situation when you talk about goaltenders and prospects, and how, right now Halavai has kind of backstopped Slovakia to his great success. With all that said, I'll be stunned today if Team USA doesn't break the dam. And that's not a knock on Samuel Halavai. I really, to be honest, haven't connected with him much in his couple of years with the organization over training camps and stuff. So I can't speak to his personality or his character or any of that stuff. I just look at the numbers and know that he's certainly a prospect for this organization. Hopefully someday he plays NHL games for the Minnesota Wild. But today, in that setting, I will be personally stunned if Team USA doesn't score at least 3 goals and give themselves a real chance to win the hockey game.
I hope you're right. There's not a lot I will set an alarm clock for 7 a.m. on a Sunday morning for, but if the Americans are battling for gold for the first time in 46 years, you better believe I'm going to watch it. Real quick to the Wild, they have been off for what feels like forever. They went into the break, second place in the Central Division, second place in the Western Conference, riding a 5-game win streak, but it still feels, all that said, all that is great and all that's feeling awesome. You got Quinn Hughes, everybody's lighting it up offensively. Defensively, they feel like they've been a little loose, a little bit looser than John Hines would like. Is that the biggest thing to ratchet up as they return to the game, to the ice on Thursday?
Yeah, I think so. Whether it's getting the goaltenders back to that, at least closer to that stretch where both guys were phenomenal, for that 6-week span where the Wild were arguably the best team in the league. A lot of that was because of the goalies making an extra save and keeping the other team off the board, or if that's collective defensively with the goaltenders kind of taking things up a notch. But yeah, ultimately, you don't want to be winning games 5-4, 6-5 in the playoffs. So take it if you can get it. But I think we all know as the regular season winds down, we already started to see a pre-Olympic break. It gets harder to score. Teams are tightening up. The real teams are starting to rise to the top. Their defensive structure for most teams across the league is improved this time of year. And this really will be kind of a sprint to the finish line. The Wild have 24 games left. Some teams have as many as 26 in a very condensed schedule. I mean, you look at Minnesota, they kicked things off with a back-to-back and 3 games in 4 days, all against Central Division teams. So They're going to dive right back into this thing. It'll be important to obviously stay healthy, to hone their game, eventually clinch a playoff spot. But I think you're right defensively, whether it's goaltending or just collectively as a group, trimming down on that goals against average down the stretch will be something I'll be keeping an eye on.
I think, as far as I know, everyone's coming back healthy. There's still at least one game left to play for a good chunk of these Americans, and hopefully 2 games. So knock on wood, everybody's healthy at this point. But do you worry about the mental aptitude of Philip Gustafsson? He wasn't good in this tournament. He wasn't good for his 2 starts for Sweden, and in fact didn't even dress for the final 2 games. Do you worry about how he's coming back?
Well, I would if the playoffs started, say, next week. But I think there's enough time where, with practice time, with goaltending coach Freddie Shabbat, with a good team around him that's trying to prime for a playoff run, I think he'll be able to sort out whatever maybe was causing some issues. And really, it seemed like, again, I didn't watch a ton of Team Sweden early in the preliminary rounds, but it seemed like it was early goals against, right? A few minutes into each game. And then he sort of settled in. So, I think personally for Gustafsson, it's a great experience for him. He's had Stanley Cup playoff experience. We know the last few years in Minnesota. I think with 20 some games left, if he gets 10 to 15 of them, some good practice time, then you get the few days before the playoffs would start where he can really hone in. You just hope that he gets back. He didn't lose too much confidence, I wouldn't think. And he gets back to the game that we know we've seen from Gustafsson, which is cool, calm, collected back there, not giving up a lot of second chances, making the extra save when needed, and being the backbone of this Wild team. The nice thing is, for Volstead, what probably isn't totally taxed after this Olympic experience. I'm sure he took extra shots on practice days and stuff, but hopefully that was just good for him to be around such an elite group. And if he has to be the guy at any point down the stretch of the regular season in the playoffs, you hope that obviously his game's in order as well. How's the youth hockey in the O'Donnell household as we make our way towards March Madness? We got 3 games tonight. Awesome. We're Pee Wee and Bantam all in action, so We'll be busy. Took in district playoff game last night, the old Edina Civil War at the Pee Wee level. Went to overtime. Unfortunately, came out in the wrong end of that one for the O'Donnell household, but they're on to regionals next weekend no matter what. And, be very busy and enjoying some time with the family and getting to see more hockey at the youth level than I normally would. I believe your line is I'd rather be here anyhow.
That's right. And hashtag MuTV. Either one is usually very much works. I can't wait to see your face. I love hearing your voice.
That's a lie.
No, I'm telling you the truth this time. Thursday night, we'll hear you back on the air, Wild and the Avalanche from Colorado. Looking forward to it, Joe. Enjoy what's left of your spare time.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. Just one more thought on the Wild, if I can.
Sure.
I know you had Jack Capuano on earlier, and the sense I got from being around Trey the last couple of days is he is working the you-know-what out of the team that's here, right? Yep. Those 12 guys that are here. And I think that's going to bode well for Minnesota. And Cappy and I talked a little bit yesterday, and he said he believes a lot in conditioning. I think the group that's here and getting these few days before everybody else gets back, I think they're going to be ready to go. And that has me excited about the last 24 games, the fact that he's pushing them hard. It's not a country club setting. And the guys that are here are putting in the work, and they should be ready to fire on all cylinders.
Outlet Mall. What's happened to you? You're shopping on your free time. Look at you. So domesticated.
Well, I haven't done any shopping yet. I'm sitting here talking to you. But
all right. Well, go get a blender or whatever you're doing. Good luck, and we'll talk to you Thursday night.
All right, thanks, Kevin. See you, bud.
Joe O'Donnell, the voice of the Minnesota Wild right here on The Fan. We next take the airwaves, 7:45 on Thursday from Ball Arena. Wild taking on the Avalanche. One of 24 games left in the regular season. Then we get off to the good stuff. The playoffs are right around the corner. Next, we're going to the U of M campus. We're talking to Gopher senior forward Brody Lamb on The Fan.
Brody Lamb shoots, he scores! Nice shot, bar down, and it's a 1-1. Hendrickson grabs it, he's got Lamb with him. Hendrickson going in, centers for Lamb, he scores! Now Brody Lamb shoots, he scores! Lammer gets the Gophers a 4-3 lead.
The voice of Wally Shaver describing one of a billion goals scored by Brody Lamb in his time on the U of M campus. Nice enough to join us on FM 100.3 The Fan. Brody, Kevin Falmus, thanks for taking time here on your bye week to talk a little Golden Gopher hockey. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing well. It's been a lot of time to hang out with the guys.
What
next week in Michigan.
What have you been doing to occupy your time during this little break in the schedule? We've been talking a lot about the NHL guys and the guys that didn't go to Italy. Some of them went to tropical locations. I don't think you're doing anything like that with just a brief week off in the schedule, but a little chance to heal some bumps and bruises, I hope?
Yeah, I wish. We're just kind of hanging out. Like I said, we spent a lot of time as a group, and bonding and letting our bodies heal and getting ready.
I tell you what, I'm going to hang up on Brody, and maybe you can call him back, and we'll see if we can get a better connection. I know this hasn't been the season they wanted there on the U of M campus, and for the Golden Gophers, I heard Bob Motzko on earlier this week with Paul Allen, and there is hope on the horizon, but this season as a whole, not what you expect for a Golden Gophers team. 19-2 on the year, even on home ice, 7-10-1 at 3M Arena at Mariucci. They have bigger aspirations here for this Golden Gophers team, and this year it just hasn't come into effect, and that's a tough way to go out, especially when you're a senior in your final year of playing there at the U. So hopefully we can get Brody Lamb back on the horn here. Quick little update from Milan in the semifinal game. As we look at Canada and Finland, it's still 2-1 in favor of the Finns. 14:57 left to go in regulation. Canada outshooting the Finns now 23-11. Again, they're in the third period, so anxious times here for the Canadians, who have Olympic gold aspirations, but right now are fighting for their Olympic lives. It started with two straight by the Finns. Mikko Rantanen, his second of the Olympics on the power play, gave the Finns the 1-0 advantage. Then former Gopher and former Wild forward Eric Hall made it 2-zip with a shorty early on in the second. Sam Reinhart redeflected a Cale Makar goal on the power play to cut the lead in half, and now that's where we sit through two periods, and just about 6 minutes into the third, Finland still holding tight to that 2-1 lead and looking for an opportunity to put this game out of reach. If they can score that second goal, that would be huge, because again, Finland's not a terrible team. I mean, Canada, yeah, they have Olympic gold aspirations, but it's not like this is Kazakhstan they're playing. Finland's got some NHL players on that roster, including Mikko Rantanen. So I don't think it would be a huge upset if they won, but still, everyone, I think, fully expects Canada to come out on the winning edge. But to do it, they got to score at least one to tie it and then come through in dramatic fashion, much like the American women did yesterday, capturing gold, taking down the Canadians. Let's try this again, Brody. Thanks again for trying here. We were talking about your senior season and thinking about your time there on the U of M campus. We can talk about this season here in particular in a second, but just if you can, recap what it's been like to wear that Golden Gopher uniform and represent the maroon and gold there on the U of M campus.
Yeah, I mean, it's been such an honor for 4 years, and met so many great people and great leaders, and obviously in my next chapter, I'm really going to miss this place and miss putting on the M every day, but yeah, it's been an honor for 4 years.
There's certainly been ups and downs, and this year is no exception. But I think back to a couple of weekends ago, you get Wisconsin in your barn, and you get a chance to sweep them in a pair. What's it like in being at 3M Arena at Mariucci and having the doors blown off and having the roof come off, and especially getting a chance to sweep a border rival?
Yeah, it's not comparable to anything. I mean, the excitement in that building that weekend. Obviously, the fans came out to support, and even with the ups and downs this season, we sold out that place, and obviously, Wisconsin weekend brings energy in itself, and obviously to get 2 wins is really fun.
How have things changed for you on the ice, moving to the center ice position? Sounds like Bob Motzko wishes I was listening to some post game stuff, or maybe it was some preview stuff, saying that he wished he would have tried that much earlier. How has life been then, moving positions?
Yeah, I think there's definitely some adjustment, especially in the D zone. And I feel like you got to be a little more responsible as a center, staying low and, kind of protecting the house. But overall, I think it's been good for my game. Obviously, learning a new spot and being able to adapt is big, and I think it's helped us.
Gopher senior forward Brody Lamb this season second on the team in goals, assists, and points. 14 goals, 30 points in 31 games. Like I said, you got the bye. You're going into taking on Michigan next weekend. This weekend, you get a chance to watch some of this international hockey. I know the answer to this because you're a rink rat. You're a puckhead. How close are you following, especially Team USA, as they try to capture gold for the first time in 46 years?
Yeah, I mean, it's been unbelievable to watch. Obviously, Babes and Lacombe are some of my buddies to this day, so just keeping up with them, and then obviously all of Team USA, and hoping them the best.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Faber last year was your first year with the Gophers. Is that correct? Is that the connection there with Faber?
Yeah, correct.
And what was it like to watch him in that Golden Gopher uniform now excel on the NHL stage and also, be a star internationally for the Americans?
Yeah, I think I didn't really realize, when I was here being a freshman, I didn't realize how good he really was and as a Gopher. And now being an older guy, you kind of realize that. And obviously it's super exciting to see his success.
I assume you're picking them over the Slovaks this afternoon, and how are you going to take in the hockey game?
Yes, obviously I'm picking U.S. over the Slovaks. After practice, we're probably going to watch at the rink as a team and just hang out. So, go USA.
Your attention is going to be split, though. I don't know what time Dodge County plays, but the girls' team is at state. You're from Dodge County, so I'm guessing you're keeping an eyeball on that, too.
A little rematch from last year's championship today. They play War Road, so I'm definitely keeping an eye on that. I've been watching Twitter and cheering them on. So, best of luck to them as well. Let's hope they can do it again.
Last one for you then, the mindset for the rest of the season. As mentioned, it hasn't gone the way you wanted to, but there's still plenty left to accomplish the rest of the season, whether it's the regular season, get into the Big Ten tournament, and then surprise some people. What's your mindset as you go into Michigan starting next Thursday?
Yeah, I think the mindset is just start with our consistency right now before playoffs. And, we've continued to get better, even through the ups and downs. There's a lot of stuff that this team has improved on, and we're really proud of them for that. And we're just going to keep pushing and keep doing all we can to represent them.
Brody, I got to tell you, it's been fun watching you wearing that U of M sweater and representing the Golden Gophers. Continue to be proud the rest of this season, and let's finish on a high note, okay?
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
There you go. Gopher senior forward Brody Lamb, as mentioned, second on the team in goals, assists, and points, a fourth-round pick by the Rangers in 2021. Also played in the state tournament in 2021, playing for the Dodge County Wildcats. In his career on the high school level, 98 goals and 55 assists in 2 years at Dodge County. The girls in action as we speak, semifinal Friday in Class A hockey, AA this afternoon, so plenty to keep you entertained. And if that wasn't enough, of course, we've got Olympic hockey as well. Right now, Finland still holding on to that 2-1 lead. They're about midway through the third period as they try to dash the hopes and dreams of all those north of the border. We'll wrap things up when we continue and put a bow on 3 hours of fallness. How's that for a Friday on the Fan?
You bet.
Quinn Hughes, we played 3.5 minutes in overtime. Quinn Hughes shoots, he scores! He scores! Quinn Hughes in overtime wins it, and the United States will move on and face Slovakia in the semis.
Couple of awesome days for American hockey. That was a couple of days ago as the Wild defenseman Quinn Hughes gets loose in the slot and beats the goaltender, sends the Americans to the semifinals. That's coming up later on this afternoon. They'll take on the Slovaks. Puck will drop at 2:10. Meanwhile, right now in the semis, finally, the Canadians are able to break through. Shea Theodore, a blast from the top of the right circle over the glove of UC Saros from Makar and Sanheim, pulls the game even. 10:34 of the third. It's even at 2 goals apiece. So that's where we sit. Again, Canada with the bevy of the opportunities here, out shooting the Finns now 31-14, about midway through the final frame. But they've made it a hockey game, finally finding the back of the net, beating UC Saros, and we'll see how this thing transpires. Fun hockey. I mean, like I said, fun back-to-back days for the Americans. You got the Quinn Hughes goal to force them into the semifinals, and then, of course, the Americans winning yesterday on the women's side.
I don't know how that's not goaltender interference on that second goal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Marchand...
They didn't even look at it.
Didn't even look at it. And by the way, it should be noted, the 2 referees who are calling penalties in this game are Canadian. I just want to throw that out there. I don't even know how that's allowed. How the IOC, I mean, is there not a Swedish and, or an American pair?
Unless they're saying Haula pushed him into the crease and pushed him over Saros, I'd have to agree. Basically, he did like a tumble cartwheel somersault over the back of the back legs of UC Saros, but they didn't review it. They didn't hesitate. They called it a goal immediately. They dropped the puck, and we got ourselves a 2-2 hockey game. This promises to be a real good finish. And again, I think everyone would be shocked if it isn't Canada that comes out on top, but Finland's giving them everything they can handle.
The Americans got a goal called off because I can't remember who it was. Was it Miller? Was it Trocheck? Someone was in front of the net and grazed the goaltender, and it got called back.
There's supposed to be no gray area at all. If there's any kind of contact with the goaltender in international hockey, especially on the Olympic stage, it's pretty cut and dry.
I mean, Marchand literally with full force fell on Saros' left leg.
But Haula was right there on him. I don't know if they're saying that it was that he was pushed into him, or if they're saying that that force was part of the problem.
We're not listening to the broadcast, so maybe that's what they're communicating. But to me, that looked all day long. And by the way, the American was pushed in to the net as well. I mean, he got his position, but he was pushed in. And that was where the grazing contact was made. I don't know how that's not goaltender interference, but hey, it's a tie game, so let's play.
We got about 4 minutes here, and then we'll hand it off to Common Man and Brandon Molesky, and we'll get you away from the hockey talk for a little bit. I'm sure they'll talk a little hockey, probably not as intensive as we did over the course of the last 3 hours, and much to the chagrin or happiness to some, depending on where you fall on the aisle. I really hope you enjoyed the conversation with Woody Page. Some folks did. A great segment with Woody, growing up watching him on ATH. And that brought some good memories back. That from the 701 area code, texted in at 64686. Also saw...
We had many insights into his personal life.
Love the segment with Woody. Just a brilliant interview with Woody Page. How do we get more Woody Page love-making talk? That was the one that almost got me a spit take. I was drinking coffee at the time, and you can go back and podcast if you want further detail. I won't go into graphic detail, but that one was... I can't tell you that I was expecting that, but it was fun. And then we did talk a lot of hockey besides that, whether it be Joe O'Donnell, Brad Frost, Jack Capuano. We started the show with Jake Middleton, and then we did some youth hockey stuff with Tony Scott. Get you ready for semifinal Friday for girls high school hockey at Grand Casino Arena, and then the section tournaments happening all across the great state of hockey, and he's got it all covered there at youthhockeyhub.com. You can go back and podcast any of this show and get the full update. But I wouldn't say it was a very diverse show, Brett. We did spend a lot of time talking hockey, but if you ask me to come fill in, that's probably what you're going to sign up for.
You know what I'll say? It was a jam-packed show. After we needed 3 segments of Blake Moore's breakaways last time we did 9 to noon, you learned your lesson.
And you said no. You actually said no.
True.
Not enough to talk about. What do you mean? Make it up. You do it with everybody else. Come on.
We figured it out.
Throw me a bone. We did. We did a great job, and it was fun. No Beyond the Pond tomorrow because there's an early Gopher basketball game. I think they got a half-hour best of something leading into it, so you'll have to check that out for yourself. But the return of Beyond the Pond a week from Saturday with myself, Pat Micheletti, and, of course, Brett Blakemore's breakaways.
Devastated.
I know, and I did. I when Woody Page said yes, I had to kick Pat to the curb. I still feel bad about that, but I think he's okay having his day free. A quick little preview coming up later on. You got U.S. versus Slovakia I'm guessing you, along with Joe O'Donnell, think that they're going to solve Samuel Halavi today and the Americans will advance.
I do. I don't think it's going to be as easy as there really isn't any easy games at this point. I think when you talk about the Four Nations face-off, we got the poor seeding of it last round against Sweden, where in my mind it's the 3. I think the Finns are the worst of the Four Nations face-off, but they're still an unbelievable team as we're seeing right now. But so we got the worst end of it in the quarters. Canada's getting the worst end of it now in the semis. So this should be the game, the easy game to get through, but it's certainly going to be.
When you say it like that,
but it's not going to be. And
no,
it's going to be a challenge, and it's a good team. They've got some good players.
Same thing with the Americans yesterday. I mean, the American women just blew their way through the entire tournament field. They absolutely destroyed everyone in their path until they came up against Canada in the final. They blew them out 5-0 earlier in the tournament, but they come up with them in the gold medal game, and this is when players of this ilk step up. I mean, again, you're not taking on Kazakhstan this afternoon. This is Slovakia, and they have NHL players on that roster. Now, the most important position is Samuel Halavi, and he lacks that big game experience, but he's proving his worth here in this tournament. I think everyone, to a man, says they feel pretty confident with him between the pipes. We'll find out for sure later on this afternoon, 2:10, as we watch that unfold. The United States and Slovakia, if the United States can get it done, I don't care how it happens, they advance to the gold medal game on Sunday morning. I think the puck drop will be around 7 o'clock in Milan. I will be watching that one. What are you going to do this afternoon? How are you going to take this one in?
I'm going to sit on the couch and watch Tomas Tatar play against the U.S. That's a name I haven't thought of in a long time. But yeah, sitting on the couch, projector TV, we're taking all of it in.
I'm doing the same. I'll be surrounded by probably children, my wife, my mother-in-law, 20 dogs, but I don't care how it happens. Everyone's going to be quiet. I'm going to be watching that TV, but I might mute it so I can listen to the Common Man and Brandon Molesky, noon to 3. You got Dan Barrero and Justin Gard coming up later on this afternoon as well. So plenty to keep you entertained. You can mute that TV, watch it, listen to these guys, and I'm sure they'll do a great job keeping you up to date. Still 2-2, by the way, between Finland and Canada in the latter stages of regulation. Brett, great job. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me.
That's Brett Blakemore. I'm Kevin Fallness. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for listening to The Fan.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.